Welcome to a special series of Vikings Film Room. Pete Bercich joined by, just look at him, Gabe Henderson.
This guy.
And we're going to take a look at some of the college quarterbacks, but we're this time going to concentrate on Jayden Daniels and his special skill set. What is it about Jayden Daniels that stands out to you?
I just feel like whenever I turn the film on and I watch Jayden Daniels, it's always a rhythm to his game. He's always bouncing, moving forward, and you see that in his arm motion and his hips and his footwork and just how he approaches the game of football. And when you turn on this film today, I think that's what fans will see. It's just a rhythm to how he plays the game of football.
And with this LSU offense, run by Coach Kelly, it's a very, very rigid, I think, systematic type of an offense. Well, let's take a look at what this guy does. And I think that what he does so well that will translate into the NFL.
Yep.
And on this first play, you're right at the red zone. I think this is a perfect example of him being able to read the defense. You get the running back motion out of the backfield. He gets to the top of his drop, and there's a couple things here again that he notices. We heard it from Kevin O'Connell talking about the voids. Where are the voids? Well, you've got yourself a huge void on this side of the defense. Middle of the field is what we call closed. Why? Because you have a safety sitting right here. So there's nothing deep down the middle that's going to be there. But the other part of the equation is this, is what this outside corner is doing. He's not bailing, right? What's he doing? He's sitting. He has this guy man-to-man, and here we go, right? Deep into the outside.
Wide open.
And he's able to see that so quickly, get this ball off, but it's the touch and where the ball ends up in place, but not having to break stride. I mean, you could just see Jordan Addison doing this, right?
We've seen that so many times. The Green Bay Packers game comes up. The first thing that comes to mind, he caught the touchdown over Jair Alexander in the end zone with the Lambeau leap. This is an exact similar play to what I saw from last year with Jordan Addison. But just that rhythm.
It's Jordan Addison out of the backfield, right? And how many times do we see that with JJ in the slot, right? You run the smash on the outside, let JJ get that two-way go. This kid can make that play all day long. Another example, same situation. He's looking at this. He's saying, all right, we've got ourselves a safety sitting right here in the middle of the field. What does that mean? Well, that means we're going to have a good one-on-one matchup somewhere here in the outside. Let's just see how this play develops. Again, getting to the top of his drop, but again, it's the eyes of this corner. He knows this corner is going to jump the smash again.
Pete, I want to highlight right now where Jayden Daniels is. Look at the safeties relationship. The reason why the safety isn't running towards that purple arrow is because Jayden Daniels is looking directly at him. He's saying, okay, if I look at you long enough, I can get the ball to where you're not. So I think that's a good relationship that he has with the safety, knowing where not to throw the ball.
Exactly right, because you have a couple of threats on this side of the field as well that are going to hold him right in the middle of the field. But again, this throw needs to be way over here, as far away from that deep middle guy as possible. And look at this beauty. Outside, deep, over the shoulder, right on the money, where the receiver could jump up and make the play, the touch down the field. And that's from the opposite hash now.
Right.
So it's not just about the arm strength, it's the accuracy and the touch.
I had a coach who always told me, he said, a perfect ball and a perfect route beat perfect coverage every single time. We saw that. There's nothing that DB could have done differently when it came to trying to defend that route. So look at that ball, look at the route, and it's just picture perfect, made in heaven for any football god out there.
And you've been on TV before, because that's the perfect lead into our next play. Because we're going to see right here against the Ole Miss this is the perfect play. This is defended as well as it possibly can be here on the outside. So you see the highlighted wide receiver. Watch the relationship right here when we get to this spot. This DB is playing this play as well as he possibly can. He's inside shade to take away any type of a route that might come inside by this wide receiver. And if he does go deep into the outside, he speed turns. As a defensive coach, I don't think you can play this thing any better. The other point to keep in mind, once again, is where is the deep guy? And he's way over here on this side of the field. So keep it over here. But watch the action of this DB. He speed turns. Look at that. He's right in position. He's actually deeper than the wide receiver. Right? This is coverage as good as it could possibly get, to your point.
This is what we coach.
About the perfect catch, the perfect throw, beats perfect coverage, but watch this ball.
Oh my gosh.
Boom. Right there.
Oh my gosh.
Right over the shoulder. Someone like JJ, Addison,
Right.
they're going to watch this film and say, dude, throw me the ball.
Two things about those last three plays. When you look at all three, Jayden Daniels is going back, 3-step drop, steps up, and then throws the ball. There's no wasted motion. Every movement means something. And when you look at the second point that I want to make, all of those balls are outside of the numbers. We talk about how this Kevin O'Connell offense is ran. 88% of those throws on this Vikings offense last year were outside of the numbers. So this fits if this is the way the Vikings want to go in the draft.
And I think on the flip side of that, we have our quarterback under center a lot more than Jayden Daniels was in college.
Yep.
So he's going to have to learn that aspect of the game.
Yep.
I think he's athletic enough to figure it out. So, but we'll see. So there's some translation, there's some challenges with what he did in college. I think, and again, this next play, another great example. A little further away from the red zone, a little bit of a different type of a coverage, but the way he can play and see this free safety, there's a couple things going on right here that we have to talk about. First of all, it's this tight end who's running across the field. It's what we call the cheese route. Jack Del Rio used to call it cheese route because you don't want to bite the cheese. What you're going to see is this safety chase this thing down. What is that going to do? Well, you've got yourself another option right down here, the bottom of your screen. As soon as this safety vacates that middle of the zone, as soon as Jayden Daniels gets a whiff that guy is no longer going to be in the middle of the field, what's he going to do?
Throw it up top. So you're basically saying this safety is biting the cheese, taking this underneath route.
Absolutely. And he has absolutely zero help. Zero help from this guy on the backside. That guy's out there to dry. He is in a different time zone, right? But it's just beautiful the way this thing plays. That safety, watch as soon as he starts to move outside and start to cover this deep over route, what are you going to get? Step up, throw, post, in stride. I mean, this guy can attack downfield. Now you hear about people saying, well, he's always outside. When the time is right, he's throwing it right down the middle of the field.
Right down the middle. 2 yards inside of the hash marks. That is the perfect landing spot for any post route. 2 yards inside the hash mark on the run.
Yeah, so don't tell me he just attacks the outside. No. He attacks the outside because of the system, right? Because that's what he's taught to do. Now, we know he's a great athlete. This play right here is what excites, I think, so many people because of the ability to create something, out of nothing. C.J. Stroud.
Yeah.
This is a C.J. Stroud play if I've ever seen one. So what we have highlighted, watch that defensive end from the outside. Protection here is going to break down a little bit. You have some pressure immediately from the outside as he gets to the top of his drop.
Right.
He has to do something. But what I love, he pulls this thing down, escapes to the outside, but what does he do? He keeps his eyes down the field. What you have to watch is this relationship right here. How many times in the NFL have we seen that? A cornerback, you have to have a clock in your head because it goes from zone to man. Quick. You can't look back at that quarterback and lose sight on that receiver because he's going to do this. We've seen it. We saw it. We saw it against Cincinnati. Boom. Watch this throw, though. On the run, 40 yards or so in the air, right on the money to the speed receiver. Don't tell me. I know he's got great receivers, but don't tell me that the receivers made him look good.
Look, being a former receiver, I'm always going to say the receiver made the quarterback look good. But this time, he did make that receiver look good. Threw him open and threw him into a touchdown. So that's all you ask for your quarterback. No wasted motion, moving up in the pocket, getting outside, and then putting it on a dime so your wide receiver can go gritty in the end zone.
And this next play, one thing I love is we see this out of our offense. We do this with receivers, we do this with tight ends, but again, it's finding the voids, right? You get a little motion up top, Daniels at the top of his drop, and what does he know? He knows that this little pairing right here, he's covered. He's gone. That pulls him out, and then again, where's the void?
Right.
And he knows exactly where that is. At the top of his drop, he knows there's zero chance that this guy right here, turning back, looking back at the quarterback, is going to be able to cover T.J. Hawkinson, Jordan Addison, Justin Jefferson, as he gets himself out here to the corner. So this, I think, is a beautiful play, finding the void, getting the ball right there. Maybe get that ball out or throw out a little bit quicker, but still, that's the Vikings offense right there.
I mean, 18% of the Vikings pass plays were outside of the numbers. I know we're talking about outside the hash, but outside the numbers, throwing from the opposite hash, that is hard to do. So to be able to make that throw in rhythm, on the run. Well, he was in the pocket, but throw the ball in rhythm. That says a lot about his accuracy and his poise.
I think Jayden Daniels just has the mechanics, he has the work ethic, he's like a machine.
Yeah.
Those things I think translate so well into what the Vikings are trying to do here. So Jayden Daniels, another quarterback to keep your eye on in this year's draft.